Right, the back of my faithful friend Yong heng. Well, not so faithful as the case may be. I was topping off the 3 litre diver's cylinder the other day, and when I went to depressurise it, it was sort of going pss, 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 and then it sort of blocked up solid. So I knew something had like come apart, like a seal or whatever. So I took this out, and you can see bits of green filter in there. Can you see it?
Hang on.
It's obviously like one of the seals has broken up. You won't see it with a shadow over it.
Okay, so there's green.
Bits of green. Oh, I've got some. The ones that came with the compressor. It's one of these. It's one of these.
Pass me
So-
a torch.
So as I didn't do a video on this properly last time because it's just like a spur of the moment thing. There's a check valve in there, and there's a check valve in there. So this is the first one I took out. This spring, you can see it looks a bit nasty, and that's the washer, the offending washer there.
So
I don't know whether
that's
it's,
come out of that hole there then.
oh, that's the
Okay.
check valve.
Alright.
And it's broken up, see?
Mhm.
When it comes out the final stage, down through this one I think it is, yeah,
Yeah.
except for that's that way round of course. And the pressure comes out of that, pushes that off its seat and allows the pressure in, and then when the piston reaches the top of its stroke, that shuts back because that pressure's forcing back. There's also a reed valve in the top of this. I'll take it off in a minute because I didn't do it last time. And in the low pressure side there's one here as well, so it draws, the piston goes down and it draws in, there's like a big reed valve on top of the piston. It draws air into this first cylinder, and then as the piston rises, the pressure forces it. Does it? No, I've got that wrong I think. But anyway, it comes through, it comes out of there, it comes out of this one here. Yeah, that's right. As the piston comes up, it forces that big long one that lies across the piston, and the small one goes through it. It shuts up the air intake, and then it forces this valve open, which I'll show you now, which is a one-way check valve as well. But this one's slightly different. It's made out of a different material. See, as the piston comes up, that one's shut, the air intake's shut. Piston comes up and it forces this off its seat and allows it through into this one, which is the cyclone filter thing, and it goes into that and then out of that one into that. So that's just, this one's just some sort of hard plastic type stuff.
So that's okay.
So that one's alright, yeah. Back in there.
Back.
When you'd have thought they'd have made it out of like a ball bearing type thing really. But I will. Let's have a quick clean up of this. Looks like they're the right ones. I put a few of them in there anyway, so obviously
So they
expected to
gave you
fail.
this.
Yeah, this comes
with
with a compressor.
Okay.
The spare parts. So put him on. That's it.
It looked a bit perished, that other one, to me as well.
So that goes in that way. Well, it looks a bit burnt, I reckon. Maybe
Yeah.
a diesel in. I'll put that in just for now, but that needs cleaning out, that does, so just do it. And I'll take it apart again later and clean it out. So I'm going to take this right off, and then I'm going to drill that hole out and thread it and put a probably like a nipple thing on so I can get a pipe, because I don't like the way that blows all the water into the motor. So that's that buggered one. It looks like it's a bit burnt. Yeah, you just thought they'd
Yeah, it looks perished, doesn't it?
thought they'd well, it's where it's forced it in. It's sort of like cut it, and it's still quite strong.
Yeah.
It failed anyway. Right, so let's take. I'm going to take this off, because the first time I took this off before, when I first rebuilt it, there was loads of like carbon, oily sludge stuff where it had been dieseling.
Wow.
So I'm sure it's probably going to be the same again. Let's have a look.
So, can that find its way into the bottle?
Oh yeah, that's why you've got that cyclone separator, and then you've got that cigarette butt filter thing, and then I'll put these ones on it as well. Obviously the moisture one, I said about it in another video, and
Yeah.
the activated carbon one to take away all the burnt diesel smell.
So there's no way that's going to get into the...
No? Right. Everyone's going to have to do this at some point in its life, so... Let's do it now. Yeah.
It's gummy, isn't it?
It's not as bad as the first time I took it apart.
Let's have a look up in there.
Doubt if you see much.
No, not too much.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be, actually. That's the kitchen towel. Still looks alright, no scoring or anything. See, that's that reed valve I was going on about that shuts when the piston goes down, it opens. So the air's drawn in there, which is the intake, which is where that goes. And then as it comes up, it blocks that up, and it goes through that one, through that check valve, and into there. Yeah, that looks pretty good still, that. Happily. Nothing's loose. It's only got 3 hours on it though, because I put an hour meter in it, it's bang on 3 hours. It is a bit sludgy, but nothing serious. Before, when I first took it off, there's like a load of sort of tarry stuff all going down it. It was really sort of gummed up. So at least that's looking better anyway.
What are these then?
Well, they're the piston rings for the second stage.
Yeah, but what are they?
Well, I don't know what they're made out of. Some sort of weird semi-metal resin type stuff, or fiberglass, I think. Right, let's have a look at this.
So that's the bit you wanted to show.
Well, that's, yeah. I'm going to take this apart because I didn't do it before. Just so people can see it. So I need to take it apart. I know last time I took this bit off, the reed valve thing on it, you've got to get it in the right position. It's out of the way. There's no check valve in this actual thing, I don't think. It's in there, that looks like some sort of dieseling's been going on in there. That's it.
Hold it still.
Yeah, look right in it though. That's where the reed valve, which is a check valve above the second stage piston. Let's put that in. No, wait. So if I'd have thought better of it before, I'd have done a proper thing on it. But as we got it apart, it's sculled away. There's the valve. And there's the head, you can see which way it goes.
And they're looking good, Nick. The
O-ring.
rings, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes. What's that gubbins on there?
Gubbins. It's just some sort of
Rust or something.
oil, I suppose. Dieselled. I don't really want to move the position of that valve because it goes over them holes a certain way. I suppose it'll focus on that with that bright behind it, won't it?
Yeah.
Ball looks good. So I'm not gonna disturb that because I'll have to stick it on with some grease or something to keep it in the right position. So I'm not gonna bother with that. But that's just basically a fine sprung metal reed valve. So I'll just give this a quick clean. You can see where it has dieselled on top of that a little bit. Nothing serious, eh? Luckily.
So what makes it rust? So rusty.
Well, it's burning oil, isn't it? It ignites under compression and pressure. There's oxygen in it. Like a diesel engine, that's why they call it dieseling. You can see a bit of sooty crap in there where it's dieselled. Bloody stinks, that. Right, I'll take this water jacket off as I'm at it. Oh, it's looking a bit, yeah, that's corroding a bit with the aluminium corrosion. So obviously the water goes in there, comes up through there, goes up to the top.
So that is where that goes then, that cooling.
Yeah.
It only cools.
It comes up through that hole there. So it's in there, out there, around the high pressure cylinder, through that hole, and that's the O-ring coming out to the top one. And obviously that's the water jacket, but it's corroding that, which isn't good.
So we live in a hard water area as well, which
Sure
can't
do.
be.
But that's the aluminium that's corroding that.
Mm.
That's nothing to do with a lime scale, with a chalky water.
No.
Because obviously we're not far from the white cliffs of Dover. All the ground is all chalky, isn't it? Don't know whether I should brush that up quickly or... Should really get a bit of stainless wire wool and brush it off, but then again you're only scratch the surface and it'll corrode again,
Yeah,
so
that's right.
maybe I'll just leave it. Right, them seals looking good, Nick, and I haven't damaged
It
it or
doesn't
anything.
leak, does it?
No. Touch wood. Right, so carefully ease them on. Cool, you can see the state of it, look at it.
Mm.
When it dries, it really shows up, doesn't it? Hmm.
Cheap aluminium, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Should have really put a bit of grease on them seals, but I think it's got it.
What, like the stuff you use for the air guns?
Yeah, silicone grease. Don't know if that O-ring looks a bit flat to me. Maybe if I take it out and just put it around the other way, then it'll probably leak.
Leave it.
Yeah. I'll leave it, eh? Don't forget that one. Otherwise it will leak straight into the blooming, and then it'll hydraulic it and burst the blooming thing open. All the good fun you can have with these compressors.
So if you're not competent in taking things apart, I'd say don't get one.
Well, that's why I'm doing this, because when I looked on there I couldn't really find anything on it, so there's nothing serious to it. That's why I'm doing it, to sort of try and help people out, really. Because you're definitely going to have to strip it down and give it some maintenance sooner or later. Hopefully later rather than sooner, but like I say, I've only run this for 3 hours and I've had quite a few problems with it, really. But apart from that, it does its job, does it well. It's like that one goes in there. Yeah, that all looks good, that. I'm pleased with that. It goes that way. No, it don't. It goes. No, it don't. It goes that way around. That's right. That's it. Last couple of times I've been using this, the motors seem to have overheated, and I don't know if it's because we're having a hot spell at the moment, but probably not, because obviously England's not the hottest country in the world and other people don't seem to have trouble with that. But this thermal cutout on here, on the motor, has gone a couple of 3 times now. And I don't know whether it's because I put that in the way of it and it's sort of stopped the airflow more or not, I don't know. I shouldn't think so. But I was looking on the internet to try and find a better fan, because that's just straight blades. So obviously if the blades are angled like that, it's gonna like blow air over the motor better. So I looked on the internet and I managed to find one. When it actually comes through, because it's from China again, obviously, I'll do a short video on it and see whether it works or not, and if it does, then put a link up so everyone else can change it. But obviously the cooler you can keep the motor and all this as well, because I mean it's aluminium, so heat travels through it both ways, and obviously the heat from that's going to travel through it and vice versa. So the cooler you can keep it, obviously, of course the motor's going to last longer, and so is the pump. Everything will. because like
Yeah, the windings and stuff.
heat's the enemy of any mechanical device really. But I was thinking as well of like drilling holes in this so that, because you know the air can go through there, and if you had holes at an angle going round it, it would act like a heat sink, you know. Maybe put some smaller holes in there. Here's the old one I've got with a motor.
It's quite thin aluminium, isn't it?
Yeah, first of all I was thinking about I might obviously clean all the paint off and TIG weld some aluminium fins on it or something, but I reckon, because obviously the motor's there and the crankcase, if you're careful you could drill some holes in at an angle round it so the air blows through it and out, which is going to increase the airflow, you know, obviously, and keep it cooler, because that's going to act like a big heat sink. So the cooler you can keep it, the better. So I'm not going to do that for a while because I'm not stripping all this out of it again. But it's just something I've been thinking about. I think that's it really. Everything I was going to say. Oh yeah, about this gauge. Because I had trouble with this bloody thing. It stopped shutting off and I thought it was the gauge, but it's not. Because it used to keep turning round and not, you know, you could turn this bloody thing round and it would hardly move that at all. But I've tested this. All that does is just obviously a little thing on there that pushes on that, and then you move it right around the other way to move that again. This gauge is actually bloody accurate. I was really surprised, because I know other people have trouble with it not being accurate and that. But what I have noticed, there's a little thing on the end there that you can move. I don't know whether that calibrates it or not. It quite possibly does. But like I say, this was accurate. It's probably not now because I've buggered around with it.
You put it in the lathe to turn it round, didn't you?
Well, I had to get this apart. Obviously that had been burred over like a, let's do it in the light. It had been burred over on like a metal spinning lathe, I should imagine, where it would have been a disc clamped between two things, and then a tool comes in at an angle and rolls the metal over, so it was right on there and I couldn't get it off. I tried levering it off, but it wouldn't, so I put it in the lathe and went in with a tool bit at an angle and cut that back bit off so I could get it apart. And like I say, the gauge itself, there's nothing wrong with it. But this bloody thing, this thing here goes together like this. That goes through there. And it's this, just screwed into the end of that plastic.
Did that fall off then?
Well, like I say, I kept turning it round and it wasn't doing nothing, hardly moving it at all, and because that's come undone, hasn't it? Which is not a very good way of doing it, really.
Right, so
But I bet everyone else has this sort of trouble eventually. It's only a matter of time before that comes loose. See, that's all it does. That's come undone. But you've got to break the bloody thing open to get to that, because that's like that into that. Then you've got that spacer on it. And obviously it goes on that. Now it works fine, that. But even then it's still spinning round a little bit, like this is moving more than what that's pushing it round.
So it's knackered then?
Well, no, it's not. I might try and make something up that you can screw on and hold it. But the gauge itself, like I say, it worked fine. But obviously that's 240 volts on that, so that's got to be plastic. It's got to have some sort of insulator on it. So there you go. That's what that is. So it's going to keep me busy for a little while. And if there's any, when I get that fan, which is like 9 blades, like pushing the thing round, so it's going to seriously increase the draft, I'll do another little video, an update on it. So I hope that's interesting. See you next time.